Okay. Um, so we'll be doing Canadian drama. So Canadian drama, if you see, Canadian drama has been the youngest and the thinnest of developed, Canadian literary forms. And the key year was in 1967 when James Riney, Color in the Dark, John Cutler's The Trial of Louis Riel, and John Ryder's The Ecstasy of the Depression. So, another major dramatic work, if you see, of the recent period is David French's Leaving Home in 1972. And there is also Sharon Pollock's Walsh. So, a major First Nations play is Thompson Highway's The Ayers Sisters. So, Indian drama, in terms of fully developed literary form, an implication of that theatre and stage play activity in Canada is quite favorably with British drama, of the 1950s and 1960s, in which there was Samuel Beckett,
So your voice is not clear. It's breaking.
Arnold Wesker, all as regional theatres. Okay, so the regional theatres were just, yeah. Okay, so the regional theatres were based on varying degrees of on the model established in Manitoba theatre sector, and these offered, the audience developing programs into local, maintaining high production standard, employed artists from across the country. And although most of their plays were chosen from an international, repertoire, the regions, added to the momentum fostered by a decade of public funding of the art, which combined with the nationalist spirit surrounding the Canadian Centennial to create and increased opportunities even for the Canadian playwrights. So you find the period marked by its affinity for history and for you can say individuals and events which became a focus after the late 1960s in the body of the history base. So you find the natural amount of early Canadian drama in English is shaped largely by the foreign models. So, as in case of late Adam, pastoral drama, which is in Scottish dialect, that is reduced to English, and 17th century English heroic tragedies, such as you can say John Dryden's The Conquest of Granada, which was published in 1670s and 71. So you find the conquest of Canada which was published in 1766, is sometimes is something that engages in a verse drama depicting the defeat of the noble savage, the anonymous Arcadius stage in Halifax in 1774. So the common impression of that closet poetic drama was the 19th century dominant dramatic genre, which can be challenged as more, play, which are found in the, right poetic drama and the dramatic sketches, not, intended for the stage, many of them, they published in the literary garland, but the anonymous, the, the Queen's Oak, which was published in 1850, is very typical. Most notable of the Garland contributors, among her 10 plays, The Fatal Ring, about a virtuous countess seduced by an alluring, womanizing king, and the uneven quality of its blank words and its moral tone, and which are evident also in Shasta. Okay. So, using, indigenous subjects with greater frequency, but the quality of their expression improved only slightly. So you find that, what happened is, Sarah Anne Curzon, whose poetic talent was more, limited than Mayer's, also allowed the poetic, patriotic bent in the Laura Secord. So you find during this period, the government figure played a significant role in development of Canadian drama. Like for example, for instance, I can say in Ottawa, Lady Duffer is organized, a dramatic entertainments between 1872 and 1878 in the theatre of the Garnison, who was the author of the comic operetta, and was one of playwrights who work who encouraged. Yeah. What she did is she encouraged. Mm, uh, yeah. Dixon's, mask. A mask which was entitled as the Canada's Welcome in 1879, and which was chronicled a pioneer settlement in the Canadian wilderness, which was presented for the Marquess of Larmy and, Princess Louis at Ottawa's Grand Opera 79. So you find the musical drama were very important entertainment in the 19th century. Like for example, let's say Nina, which is published in 1880, by Thomas Hubbard, is a nautical comic operetta influenced by Gilbert, and the musical parodies and the things which prevailed, most famous being, William Henry Fuller, HMS Parliament in 1880. So you find even Jean Newton's showed, more originality, exploring the Canadian identity in the context of the annexation issue in her comic um, Darmigan, which was published in 1895. Okay, so we find that um, colors which were okay. So
Sir, you are muted.
you just hold on for a minute, please. Okay. So yes, so I was telling by 1960, Davis, seemed about to blossom forth as a prolific and an important Canadian dramatist. But there were various, reasons why this did not happen. First, the dramatization of Levin of Malice, failed on the Broadway and discouraged him from concentrating all his efforts on the theater. A little later, his appointment as the first master of Massey College. You
Good
find,
morning, sir.
sorry,
Good morning, sir. Sir, actually, I was a little bit late for today's class. So, we are doing block 7, right?
yeah, Block 7 we are doing.
Sir, for the introduction part or like introduction to writer and the structure of the play?
No, no, I'm talking about the Canadian drama.
Okay, sir. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. So, um, yeah, so later still his success is in the novelist with the depth for trilogy, which channeled his creative energies into an other area, and you find that as a result his recent dramatic output has been small. The most important question being, the question time, 1957, 70, sorry, 75, which the play, plays freshly on the actively and promises to develop into a witty and satirical look at Canadian politics, but it turns more serious and even solemn as it raises issues of the personal and national identity. So it contains some impressive theatrical moments. Yeah, and then what happened is it contained more of the impressive material. Okay, so you find that um, the stage, devices, however, especially the parliamentary debate, in which Peter Macadam acts as both prime minister and leader of the opposition, seems very confusion and clumsy. So Davis, has consistently emphasized the importance of craft in playwriting. So his own, plays are at least as well as made in Ringwoods and in the, special dramatic ethos he creates. The world of wonders celebrated in his novels about theatre folk, and this is an advantage you find. As in this fiction, he chooses character who, whatever their education and attitudes, can talk readily and effectively. In his notes to At My Heart Score, he insists the variations of accent and niceties of the pronunciation which are important, and that the play is written to be heard as well as seen. So Davis's most important contribution to Canadian theatre are qualities that other dramatists tend to neglect. The concerns for the dramatic speech and theatrical, intelligence above all is a sense of style. Okay. So this is all about the Canadian drama. Jessia, am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So coming to the text, that is the ecstasy of Rita Joe, is a two-act play and written by George Reiger. So George Reiger, if you see, is a Canadian writer, and you find that George Reiger was born in 1932 in Deep Creek near Alberta into a family of Ukrainian immigrants who had arrived in Canada in 1927. So, if I in this remote rural community, George grew up speaking Ukrainian and began to learn English when he attended school in one room block schoolhouse. And at the age of 13, his formal schooling stopped, and Raiga had to work at odd jobs to help his family subsistence, farming, and he took correspondence course and won a creative writing competition, and that gave him a scholarship to the Banff Center for the Arts. Later, Raiga then worked at various jobs in Edmonton, including writing for radio. And in 1955, Raiga went to Scotland to study the work of the poet Robert Burns, and he continued to write prose and poetry back in Alberta and worked at several jobs. But between 1961 and 1962, he worked on his first play, Indian, which came from his experience working alongside Cree Indians on the farms of Deep Creek. Um, he has also written some of the other plays like Grass and Wild Strawberries, which was published in 1969. His political play, Captives of the Faceless Drummers, in 1971, Sunrise of Sarah in 1973, then 7 Hours to Sundown 1977, Plowman of the Glacier 1977, and two plays in that is Paris Celsus and Prometheus Bound in 1982, and his last work, In the Shadow of the Vulture, which was published in 1985, which was also published in the USSR and Ukraine. Okay,
Yes, sir.
now coming to this play, the play is The Ecstasy of Rita Joe. Let us look at the characters. So we find the first is Rita Jo. Rita Jo is a young and indigenous woman. Rita is the protagonist of the play, and she comes to the city from the reservation where she grew up, seeking a better life. So, upon memories of her loved one when she is in difficult situations. So,
Sir,
Rita Jo,
sorry to interrupt you. Sir, could you please say that again? Who is Rita Jo? Actually, due to some network issue, I couldn't able to hear you properly.
she's the protagonist.
Okay, sir. And she's the young girl. What you said at that time, actually,
She's
I
a
couldn't.
poor indigenous woman.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So Rita Jo, represents the indigenous persons in a colonized nation. Demonized, degraded, and misunderstood always. And Rita loses her job, and falls into a series of arrests of various crimes. And her story is, consistently doubted by those in power. So at the end of the play, you find Rita is killed. Okay. Then next is Jaime Paul. Jaime Paul, if you see, is a young indigenous man, and lifelong friend of Rita Jo. So he comes to the city with high hopes, but he eventually loses his job and takes to drinking. He lives in poverty, but self-respect keeps him from accepting charity. So he fights back against marginalization and is angered, by the discrimination he experiences. And Jaime Paul demands, equal opportunities to those enjoyed by white men, but he too is marginalized and his voice is, suppressed in the same way as Rita Jo's war. And he dies while trying to save Rita's life. Okay, Jaime also dies. Next character is David Joe. David Joe is Rita's father, and he is a man who accepts the various aspects of colonization easily, and he moves to the reservation they are given, and also tries to persuade Rita Joe to return to the reservation, as he knows the danger of being alone in the city. So he never rebels against the colonizers and accepts all the injustices he faces in silence. So he is Jaime Paul's, as Jaime Paul describes him, the kind of Indian a white man likes. And then we have the next character is magistrate. Magistrate is the person who hears Rita Jo's case, and he is not given a name, which shows that he is not one person, but rather represents the whole of the law, giving body in a colonized nation. So you find when Rita Jo first appears before him in court, he expresses his will to be, just and fair to her, but he does not understand or relate to her, making him distrust her, and in turn making him give her an unjust sentence more than once. Then his father Andrew. Father Andrew is the priest who works among the indigenous people of the reservations, and he visits Rita Jo in jail and tries to get the confession out of her. So he keeps trying, to thrust Christianity onto the natives. Even at the end, when Rita, Joe, and Jaime Paul die, he barges into the funeral to recite his prayers. And he represents the role of religion in the process of colonization. Then we have Miss Don't know who. Miss Don't know who is Rita Joe's school teacher. So she is a white woman and is not, able to understand Rita Joe. So she finds Rita trying student when young, and she appears in the court as a witness for Rita Joe, but she doesn't have much of an opinion about her and believes that she is a prostitute. Okay. And then the singer came into existence. The singer is an alter ego of Rita Joe, and she acts as a kind of chorus to the play, trying to fill the gaps in the play. And the singer is used to portray the native perspective of things. So she often sings the line, God was gonna have a laugh and gave me a job in the city, which summarizes the whole play. Okay, so these are the characters. Any questions? Jasya, Supriya?
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, I'm just taking some time to relate the drama, actually, sir. Uh, Thinking that like Rita Jo is the poor naive girl, and at the end, like she was suffering from uh, due to lowly life or what, sir?
Yeah,
Am I correct? Yes. And the other characters, I couldn't able to get it, sir, properly. Can
why?
you please explain that again, other characters little bit?
I will explain what?
Sir, other characters that in this drama, David and other characters are also there, na?
Yeah, I told her the characters, Jasmine,
Yes,
Paul,
sir.
I told about, yeah.
Uh, Sir, actually, it is very for me. I am like having little bit difficult to connect all the points. So, if you don't mind, just can you please repeat that again? Or
I will tell you the plot so that you can understand the plot from the
sir, yeah, that will be
yeah,
good.
because it is uh, you know again repeating the characters will be difficult.
Yes, sir, I can
Okay,
understand.
so
Please, sir.
the ecstasy of the Rita Joe is tried to vagrancy and prostitution in court by the magistrate, who pretends to be committed to justice and fairness, but you find who is in fact draws on his prejudiced perception of indigenous peoples in order to condemn Rita for her ability to change her situation. So despite this, Rita and the magistrate connect on the human level as Rita tells him some of her story. And as Rita is, tried in the court, she remembers scenes which, loved ones from her life and has a vision, of other scenes that she was not privy to. So Rita loved her sister, father, and Jaime and Paul, and she fights to be reunited with them in her memory. So Rita is tasked and finding herself um, character witnesses in 8 hours officials and the people who come, including her childhood teacher, do not do nothing, to help her situation. And Rita is sentenced to 30 days prison. When she is released, Jamin helps Rita ease back into his life, but they go to Mr. Homer's shelter, but have a very struggle with him that leads to her arrest. Again, she gets arrested. So, and then the magistrate, condemns Rita as unhelpable and foreshadows her death. And Rita is released from the prison once again, but it is too late. So the murderers, they kill Jaimin when he tries to protect her from them, and then they rape and kill Rita Jo. So the last scene of the play in is Rita Jo and Jaimin's joint funeral, where they're having a joint funeral for both of them. So this is all about the plot. Okay. Now coming to the themes. So what do we see? We see colonization is one of the important themes, a central theme of this play, because uh, colonization is an indigenous people. The colonization that we see in this play is as indigenous people in Canada still, suffer effect of colonization and the lands from, hundreds of years before. So Rita Jo does not, receive justice because the colonizers, you know, cannot understand anything about her. But because they don't listen to her testimony when she provides it, and because they have, little impetus to look beyond stereotype and prejudice, they cannot with the indigenous peoples. So, not being able to understand her, they destroy her because her truth threatens to be very, system upon which the society is built. The next is the cultural assimilation. What is cultural assimilation? Cultural assimilation is the process through which, individuals or groups of different heritages or cultures are absorbed into the dominant culture. So in the play, you find that the pressure of us to assimilate is embodied by Miss Donoghue, Rita's teacher, who scolds Rita on her ability to melt herself down into melting pot. And the magistrate also, pressurizes Rita to assimilate, telling her there is no peace in being, extraordinary. So you find the pressure to assimilate are often, pressure to submit more readily to the dominant class. The white people in Rita's life who told her to give up the parts of herself, that differ from the general population which were not doing so for her good, but for the good of their own privilege. So next we have next theme is in infantilization. Infantilization is Rigas utilizes the character of Mr. Homer to demonstrate how those who intend in the help of indigenous people often end up infantilizing them. So, infantilization is the prolonged treatment of someone who has a mental capacity greater than a child, like a child. So, Mr. Homer provides food and clothes for indigenous people in the city who are in need of help, but he does not help them secure real opportunities with which they might change their situation. Clear. So, by infantilizing the population, he pretends to be helping. Mr. Homer is using a racist tactic for suppression. And by painting the indigenous peoples as individuals who must be saved, from themselves as children would be. And Mr. Homer perpetuates the narrative, according to which they cannot help themselves. Then we also see the economic, empowerment. The economic empowerment, the economic struggle of the indigenous people, which is in Canada, and are recurring themes of the play, and as well as we see the main course of finding the source of disagreement between Jaimin and David Joe. Jaime and David Joe both know that the situation of the indigenous people in Canada must improve. And because their community will not survive as it is for much longer, indigenous people were shut out of the economic marketplace, and they were stuck, on lands that were mostly infertile and in, communities that held uh, few prospects for economic growth. So we find that when they attempted to move into the city for the opportunities it offered the wide population, and they faced poverty, joblessness, and eventually, in the case of Ilta Joe's, then we have another theme as incarceration. Incarceration is and the you've been finding in incarceration and the corrections of this condition to class and race emerges as another central theme. Why? The way in which the state deals with Rita's poverty is by incarcerating her rather than through social programs that might have taken her out of the condition that pushed her to crime. So over the course of the play we find Rita is continually punished for crimes and that she may or may not have actually committed. But she is stripped of her freedom in many ways that others, in her situation would not have been. And she is punished for doing what she can survive. Okay. The next theme also we can see is pride. Just a minute. Yeah, we see also pride. So Jaime is often, accused of being too prideful because he will not accept Mr. Homer's offerings, and He refuses to accept discrimination from the bar that he wants to, go to with his friends. So you find at the same time, Jaime, advocates for dispensing of pride that has kept his community silent and indicated in his flight. And David Joe, says they are looking for Indians that stay proud even when they hurt, just so long they don't ask for their rights. And this, at the end of the play, you find Jaime is murdered for attempting to save Rita Jo from her fate. So, through the character of Jaime, Rayaka illuminates the social penalization of pride in the members of the community, and it works to marginalize. Okay. Next is hope. Rita Jo, story is a tragedy that offers no clear message of hope.
Sir,
Yes,
if you don't mind, can you repeat that sentence?
which one?
Uh, Raiga illuminates the regarding the pride of Jaime.
Oh, that sentence means, are you
Yeah,
talking about the book sentence?
yeah.
The societal penalization of pride in the members
Okay, thank
of
you.
the community. Yeah. Can we go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So here, hope, as I said, it was not very clear message of hope about the indigenous people in 1960s of Canada. But in many ways, we find the indigenous characters of this play are desperately, searching for something to hope for, and but they cannot find it. So Elin hopes, for man, she can believe in, Jaime hopes for respect, and David, Joe hopes for his daughter to come home. So you find at Rita's funeral, the white structure is finally, subverted as Elin silences that, white mourners in order to give her own testimony about her sister's life. So you find in telling the white mourners no more, the play ends on a slightly more hopeful message of testimony beyond the white narrative. And we are reminded of the audience, of the Vancouver playhouse where this play was put on. Okay, which was, mostly white and the middle class people, and the play itself can be reframed as a testimony or an agent for change. Okay, so this is all about the text. Who's the protagonist
Rita Jo, sir.
and antagonist?
Jimmy?
Jaime Paul, yes.
Yes, sir. Jimmy.
So you find what is the major conflict here then?
Society, actually, Canadian society marginalized the indigenous people.
Yeah, we basically we're talking about the protagonist. So
Yes,
uh,
sir.
the play emerges between Rita Jo and the people of in her life, who condemned her to her fate. So these
Yes,
individual includes the magistrate, the priest, the teacher, and a larger conflict emerges between the indigenous people and the white government, which has oppressed them and kept them in poverty for long generations.
Sir, you mean to say that the social law and order of a Canadian society actually oppressed the indigenous people's fate? They
Yes,
pushed them, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes. Jesse, any question?
So I didn't have any question, but can you send through the WhatsApp group those themes? Because whenever I check about this story and all, in every internet, I could find only themes are like racism, colonization, etc. So it would be nice if you could send those themes because it's very useful.
Okay, okay, okay. I'll send.
Sir, may I ask one question related to this particular ecstasy of Ritajo?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sir, there is a previous question. Here it is asking that. Just a second. Yeah. Uh, Rita Jo is a victim of British imperialization. Sorry, imperialism. Explain.
Victim of British.
Victim of British imperialism.
Okay,
Explain.
imperialism.
Yes.
Imperialism. Okay. Yeah. So here you will write about the sufferings of Rita Jo. You know how she was, ditched by all these people. The magistrate, the priest, and the teacher. So you will write about these individuals how they ditched or condemned her for her fate.
Yes. Sir, related to this one, previous question is another one. Can I ask?
Yes.
Sir, it is asking that the court scene in the ecstasy of Rita Jo reflects the denial of justice to the poor. Explain. That particular theme, what you said regarding the social law and order towards the indigenous people, that particular thing we have to write in this question.
Here you have to also write how the magistrate played a role in Ritajo's life.
Okay, sir.
Any more questions?
Sir, another previous year question is telling that explain how the minorities are ill-treated by the Canadian law. That same question which already you told us, that same thing we have to write in that question also,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
that's all, sir.
Okay. Now tell me, I'll ask you some questions, you answer.
Okay, sir.
So, which character acts as a foil to Rita Jo? Her father, the singer, Jaime, or the magistrate?
Sir, I couldn't able to understand the question.
The
Could you please
question,
repeat that?
which character acts as a foil to Rita Jo?
Sir, what do you mean by foiled?
FOIL, foil.
Foil. Sir, cover?
Yes.
Okay. Mm,
Means the lip, you can say a character contrasts with the main character in order to highlight the main character's attitudes.
Magistrate, sir.
What about
Sir, is it Jaime?
yeah, it is the singer.
Singer, okay.
Yeah,
Singer, sir. How?
the singer, because the singer was there throughout. To you find that the singer was singing, and the singer, is an alter ego of Rita Jo. So she finds, as a kind of chorus to the play, trying to fill the gaps in the play. Okay.
Okay, sir. Like the singer is portraying Rita Jo's thinking or suffering, all the things.
The singer, fills the gaps.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So, who is Jaime?
Rita Jo's childhood friend.
There was something called was a lifelong friend. Now, what does that mean? Lifelong friend.
In every situation, he is with Rita Jo. Like happy moment
Rita's
or
love.
something.
It was Jaime was Rita's love interest.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Where does the play open? Where does the play open?
Sir, could you please repeat that question?
Where does the play open? This
Okay.
play, where did it open? How does it open? In
Court in
Japanese?
the court, sir.
Yes, in the court, correct. How much time is Rita given to assemble witness? How much time was given to her? Jasia,
Sir, I didn't know.
8 hours. I had told you, no?
8 is okay.
8 hours was given. Okay. Now, what was Rita's sister's name? Alien Joe. Okay. What happened to Rita's mother? Rita's mother had died out of illness. Okay. What question is Rita repeatedly asked by the magistrate? Whether she could, like a lawyer. Okay, which action do the young men on stage participate repeatedly? Fighting, smoking, drinking. Which one?
Drinking, sir.
Yes, drinking. Correct. Why you see Ellen left the city? Why did she leave the city? Was she getting very cold in winter? or she had some legal problem, or she was not able to find any work job. She was not able to find a job. That is why she left the city. Okay. Okay. So we can
Yes, sir.
end today's class here then. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, sir.